The people need some kindness.
Shut up! Shut up!
Yeah, guys, look, sorry he's here, but from what he saw, much like myself, and he's not the only one, he also did not like what me and him just both had to sit through. As you can tell, I'm here with an epic rant. As epic boiling rant is gonna be for our newest atrocious Disney remake that I just finished watching, Snow White. Yep. How I did this one was I did a YouTube poll with votes to see if people wanted me to do a review for this. And 93% voted yes. So I decided to do it. Since 93% wanted me to review it and destroy it. Oh my god. So I'll just say the plot of this first before I get into everything else. Like, we know the plot of the story. It's obviously the same, somewhat almost-ish. But it's a different story this time around, where a princess joins forces with 7 dwarves to liberate her kingdom from her cruel stepmother, the evil queen. Yeah, that's pretty much our plot. So, as for my reaction to this movie, Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs from 1937. It was a film I definitely was very familiar with. I watched this film as a kid. And it wasn't one I grew up with that much. Because there were other Disney films I did like better. But there's no doubt to deny that the original Snow White from 1937 is a very important and iconic film to cinema. For many reasons. It was the first animated film in the USA, and one of the first films with sound. Because before that, all films were just quiet, and whenever there was talking, there was a cutaway that's had a text-to-picture in it. And on top of that, it was also the first animated Disney film that they had made, and also the first Disney film in general. And it made them what made them back when they used to be a terrific animation studio. And since then, the 7 Dwarfs became some of Disney's most well-known icons. But this movie, or actually before this movie, and there have been already several other live-action Snow White films. There was 2 in 2012, one called Mirror Mirror, and one called Snow White and the Huntsman. And now, years after those, we got this movie. How the fuck was this? This film was already permanently would have to be the worst movie of 2025. And not only that, I think it's probably Disney's worst film they have done in general. And, well, also their worst live-action movie, too. And, do you like Gal Gadot as an actress? This was probably her worst performance yet. And I hope to hell after this movie that Rachel Zegler never acts in another movie ever again. Gal Gadot's career will probably be fine, because she'll be back in more unneeded Fast and Furious sequels. Rachel Zegler's career will already clearly be damaged for quite a while after this. This was a film that all reactions since then has come out. It's now gotten worse reviews than either Dragon Ball Evolution, or any Uwe Boll film, or The Emoji Movie even, or Son of the Mask, or many other bad films. This now has a 1.5 out of 10. And it's like box office. It hasn't even remotely reached 100 million at its first week. Like, even with Spring Break, too. Even Spring Break, it's only made like 96 million worldwide. Its first week. Because guess what? Nobody went and saw the fucking film. Like, as soon as this was announced, like, I knew this was not going to do well. And when they casted Rachel Zegler in the role, people did not like that. And then Rachel Zegler acted all narcissistic and bitchy over the criticisms. Like, she got criticism because of statements saying apparently clearly having not liked the original movie, or even Snow White and the Princess characterization, so... And then she criticized jokes about Snow White being a PC character, and how old the cartoon was, and wanted the character a more better function. Of course, so let's remove the prince, despite the fact that that's important to the story, because apparently that's too sexist. They even removed they wash and clean up some of the dwarfs, saying while Snow White's prepping summer for them, because guess what? Snow White making summer for them, that's too sexist. Just about anything nowadays, literally anything nowadays needs to be removed, or needs to be canceled, or anything nowadays needs to either be branded PC. Anything, literally anything in any of Disney's original stuff is now apparently needs to be taken out when your new version. And like, hell, this guy named David Hand, like, his father literally co-directed the original animated film, and he did not like this remake already. He thought the film was insulting, and that his dad and Disney would be rolling in their graves watching this, and I don't blame him. They definitely would be if they saw this. Because think of it this way. How would you like it if pretty much you had a relative back then who created an iconic feature film that day, and it became a big legacy. And then some greedy cheapskates come and remake it and make it as insulting as possible. I think you'd be mad too. And then Zegler addressed the backlash in last October, and so the film's still gonna have a love story, except our new prince is not gonna be a prince; it's gonna be a thief instead. Because I guess realized, well, I can't do a Snow White story with no love interest, right? So we got to rewrite last minute and add in a thief for your love interest. So not only that, it also got controversy with the dwarves, not just awful CGI design wise, but casting in general too. Because and of course, then footage got revealed. The depiction of the dwarfs got reimagined, and only one actor with dwarfism would be playing one of the dwarves. Everyone else was non-dwarf. Literally. And even this got backlash. Like, Jackass cast member Wee Man, he bashed and criticized Disney for the decision. Like, he pretty much said that they were replacing jobs, the people that you could actually have little people for the role. Like, and of course, Dylan Postal, who disagree with Peter Dinklage's full comments right there. And then of course, then in October 2023, then Disney revealed the first look image, where all the dwarfs looked awful already. So, yeah, and they were gonna remake this as back in October 2016, and then of course we all know the whole story. They're already 9 minutes in this review, so let's just get on with this already. Filming took place from London to March in July 2022, then additional filming pickups in June 2024, and this has a budget of $240 or $270 million. Yeah, $270 million fucking dollars. How the fuck does this look like $270 million at all? And it got mixed reviews, but it got worse reviews from audiences when it released, and it's already bombed. Like, with this magic mirror, like, I could say the magic mirror really needs to be on new pills or something, because this movie is not, like, who's the fairest of them all? Not this movie, that's for sure. No characters in this movie, that's for sure. And it should be called Who's the Fairest of Failing Upwards and Never Recovering. This. It's like, if someone took a 1937 film, ran through a buzzword generator, showed disrespect to the late people that made it, and tossed some awkward, awful video game CGI, you got this movie. You got this shitty movie right here. So yeah, Rachel Zegler is playing Snow White, who was not right for a character like Snow White. This Snow White now, we need to have this Snow White be strong and independent. And has a role saying, I want to be a queen, I believe in kindness. And stuff. Like, often says that, often mentions kindness in a lot of her sentences. Lots of times. And apparently that's character development. Now, like, forget the dwarves. Like, the dwarves are in this movie, and they don't do shit at all. Forget woodland creatures. Forget actual chemistry with anyone. This Snow White needs to be independent. This Snow White needs dreams. And she has to remind you about that. Has to remind you about kindness and stuff every few minutes. And of course, our evil queen. You think that playing an evil, narcissistic queen would be easy for a film, for the Snow White story, but here, this version of the evil queen, you want to know what this version of evil queen literally sounds like? This evil queen sounds like an influencer vlogger, a typical bad attitude influencer vlogger on TikTok. That's what it sounds like. Like, God, man, like this. Like, yeah, this is honestly Gal Gadot's worst performance yet. Like, she sounds bored as shit in the role. Like, bored as shit wearing the shitty outfits. And her song numbers suck, too. And they don't even sound... And her villain song doesn't even sound threatening. At this point to be taken seriously. Like, the evil queen in the 1937 was actually evil. Was actually a villain. Was actually a monster. And it was actually scary when she turned into that old witch near the end of the film. The evil witch here is for like a few seconds and then goes back to her normal form. All of a sudden, as if she could just reverse the spell to begin with. Oh, yeah. And then, of course, let's get on with the 7 dwarves here. They're not dwarfs anymore because we can't cast people with dwarfism. Here, we have one actor with dwarfism for Grumpy. And the saddest thing is, the actor who plays Grumpy was actually the same guy that played Marty in the Pirates of the Caribbean films. I don't know how the hell did this guy agree to do this? Or something. I don't know how this actor actually agreed to be in a movie like this. You were in like a Gore Verbinski film with Johnny Depp, and you finally come back for this? What? That's just sad. And the dwarves look like awful fucking CGI video game creatures. Like, oh my god. These awful fucking CGI dwarves. These dwarves look like PlayStation 2 and 2000 fucking Xbox. Like, why the fuck does Disney think I want to see the 7 dwarves in PlayStation 2 or original Xbox animation graphics? Especially Dopey. That looks like the worst of all of them. Like the Dopey literally looks like a badly designed Scholastic book 30-year-old. Literally. Anyway, how does our movie now start off? Well, we hear narration, a book opens, they talk about this king and queen, they welcome their daughter during a snowstorm, and she's named Snow White to honor the day she was born over a snowstorm. Then, of course, we get another song about the whole kingdom, and they taught her kindness. And kindness was always so great. And then, of course, but then the queen fell ill. And then the queen falls ill and passes away. So the king ends up marrying this apparently evil woman that's not even supposed to be evil in the first place. It's a which pretty much mounts a campaign against this threat. Then the king does not return. And so our apparently new TikTok queen claims the throne, reveals herself as enchantress, and apparently is obsessed with vanity and her beauty. So the subjects get left in rags and conscripted to royal guard. And of course, Snow White is locked away as a maid. And the queen fears Snow White's beauty is going to outshine her own. Consults a magic mirror that also looks like shit. It literally sounds so bored, like it's yawning about to go to sleep every few minutes. Or sounds like it's taking a fuckload of drugs. Too much so it lost its voice as a result. And asks this crappy magic mirror that now looks like a crappy version of the magic mirror from Shrek. Which even that's a more enjoyable magic mirror to sit through than this magic mirror is. She asks, in the original, she asks the mirror to name the fairest of them all. The mirror always responds in her favor, and it always pleases her because apparently this queen is so narcissistic and cares about her image. Yep. Y'all know the story, the queen poisons apples, Snow White eats apples, Snow White falls to a death nap, Prince shows up, or not Prince in this version, to wake her up with love's kiss. That should be simple to make a live action version of. No! Apparently, no. Because once again, we can't have the prince, because the prince is apparently so sexist. The prince also promotes rape. But they had to rewrite that because they realized they have no live action cash grab to make. You get this long drawn out scene where when Snow White does eat the apple, I'll explain more later, she does almost eat the apple, stops giving her speech or some nonsense, finally bites into it and ruined by slow motion effects. Ugh. I don't know how the fuck $270 million went into this cringeworthy final result. A result that honestly already has no positives. This does not even look like a film. This even looks like it's made by AI. The sets look like AI. The animals too even look like fucking awful AI. The dwarves looking like fucking video game characters. The dwarves were iconic characters of my childhood. I don't want to see them get disrespectful designs like this. They look fucking awful. What kind of disservice is that? To some iconic childhood characters of mine. These were iconic childhood characters, and they basically go and they make them look awful. And the Enchanted Forest even looks AI'd. The CGI creatures, they don't have the charm, the expressiveness, because nowadays, remember, every animal in a Disney remake, they have to look realistic. So they can't have charm, and they can't have expressions of the animated counterparts. Right there. The dwarves can't look like their cartoon selves. They have to look all CGI'd. And the visual effects, you can tell this movie was so rushed because even the visual effects are awful to look at. Oh my god. Instead of trying to enhance the experience, it's always a distraction already. So when Snow White's all grown up, she meets Jonathan, who is this leader of thieves. They're raiding food from the kingdom. But then, of course, she doesn't do anything about it. But then he gets caught. He's sentenced to be tied to the gates. But then, of course, Snow White tries to stop the queen. No, wait. You can't do that to him. The queen's like, what did you say? I didn't realize you were so opinionated. When did words like opinionated exist in something like the time period this is supposed to be set? It's fucking embarrassing! Right into this movie. This movie's already off to a shitty start. But Snow White frees him, gives him bread. Here you go, here's some bread. And then, of course, the magic mirror declares Snow White is now the fairest. The queen's like, what? No! Obviously, because she's so obsessed with her beauty, she has the huntsman take Snow White to the forest to kill her, bring her heart back, because like in the original, like how the story goes, the huntsman's like, what? But she's only a girl. This huntsman doesn't sound like he even gives a fuck about Snow White. And of course, so the scene where the huntsman instead decides not to kill Snow White, but instead warns Snow White of the queen's intentions. So he urges Snow White to flee into the forest. Remember the original, when Snow White was talking to a bird, and then the huntsman showed up with the queen's orders to kill her? But then of course, when he's about to, he then broke down and then immediately was horrified at this idea and pleaded for forgiveness before ordering Snow White to leave into the woods. You don't get that here. Instead, he's like about to kill her, and Snow White doesn't look like she gives a shit she's about to be killed. She's like, doesn't seem to show any fear whatsoever. He's like, the queen's evil. The queen's a liar. You gotta go into the forest. Who doesn't even sound like he even feels fucking bad for what he's about to do. He just sounds so annoyed. This huntsman sounds annoyed. So yeah, she flees into the forest. She's lost and frightened in the forest. And then she befriends woodland creatures that lead her to this cottage that are owned by the dwarf characters. Like in the original film, they spend their days working in the diamond mine. And then we get the Hi-Ho song, which is honestly just a shitty song this time around. Remember the original Hi-Ho, 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 it's off to work we go. There, yeah, in the original when it was actually iconic and catchy. And during this, like, you hear all the dwarves saying their names, and the dwarves always reply, we know! And like they're annoyed to know their own names. Then, of course, you get the little diamond-eyed Dopey here. Like, remember the original when Dopey put the diamonds in his eyes, and he went to Doc like this? Like that, and Doc was so annoyed. Right there, and like there when that was actually funny. Yeah, the diamond eyes here happens, except he doesn't even go and annoy Doc with them. It just happens to just be there while they're in the carts, and then they like mine for like what feels like a few minutes, and then they leave. Without even collecting any of the diamonds they've mined for, they just leave. For like what feels like a few minutes. Even though it's supposed to be nightfall when they leave, it literally doesn't even feel like that takes a whole day to do. And of course, the dwarves find Snow White, and the dwarves take pity. They allow her to stay for one night, but like how the scene goes, they see Snow White sleeping on her bed, they're frightened, but with the original, they weren't even frightened by her at all. They were surprised to see her in their beds, but they didn't seem frightened by her at all. And then that's how they introduced their names in the original film. Right there. Of course, like, Dopey's like the first one to get used to her, and like, oh God, like, so yeah. They allow her to stay for one night, even though in the original, they clearly didn't mind her staying as long as she wanted. And then, of course, the queen realizes Snow White is alive and sees that the huntsman just put an apple in the box. And so she imprisons the huntsman and tells her guards, I need you guards to go find and kill Snow White and don't come back until she's dead. Because remember, the queen is obsessed with her image. She's obsessed with her popularity and her beauty. Because that's so threatening. The queen is this evil. Yeah, like that's literally how our queen feels most of the film. Like the script too is lifeless. Like the characters in this, you don't see any good facial expressions or emotions with the characters. Their chemistry is awful. The dialogue is of course does not sound like it was even written by writers. So you don't get an emotional connection with anybody. And the key elements of the fairy tale, they get altered because remember, in this world, that stuff can't happen because that's sexist. But instead of making this story engaging, like they change it to pander because it's Disney today. Modern Disney just loves to pander to cultures. Like, and even the human cast themselves feel like a parade of CGI caricatures that fail to capture any charm. And the forced musical numbers here, yeah, you get musical numbers from the original film. You can still get Hi Ho. You don't get the Prince song. You don't get the Prince song. You still get the silly song for like 6 seconds, and that's it. They're all out of place to the sympathy, so it could still be a musical film. A misguided attempt at infusing musical flair that underscores the film's discordance. And also, like, the dwarves in this movie, what do they contribute to this film? Nothing! They don't contribute fucking shit to this whole movie. So their role ends up being pointless as fuck. Just like every other side character in the fucking movie. Hell, they're not even in the title either. You know what? You could take the 7 dwarves out. If you took the dwarves out of the movie, you would miss nothing. Because these dwarves don't contribute a thing to this film. They're just there because we need the dwarves in Snow White. We can't write the dwarves out. Every element from the poor acting to the mismatched musical creates an experience that's just tragic and just bankrupt. Like, it's astonishing how this beloved tale can end up insulting the audience's intelligence. So, after Snow White, after the dwarves the next morning, the dwarves basically argue with each other. It's like dwarves literally look like they don't tolerate each other at all. Then Dopey ends up in an accident, and the dwarves become assholes, and they laugh at him, basically. I'm pretty sure, I get the dwarf, in the original, the dwarves are annoyed with Dopey at times, but I don't remember them being this much assholes to him over it. I don't remember them being this rude to the poor guy. Then of course Snow White sees him outside, upset, then cheers him up by teaching him how to whistle. And they go back inside, and because, they can't have the wash up song because we can't do that now. We can't do that now. This Snow White needs to be independent. So they have a song where they all clean up together and do the stupid running dance in the song. And then they have the laugh, annoying ass fucking laugh that they do afterwards. And hell, when it comes to the dwarf characters, I think Happy easily comes off as the most annoying of all of them. Or, all the dwarf characters were annoying, but I think Happy was the most annoying of all of them in this movie. Of course, no, I guess I could deal with Grumpy. I could kind of deal with Grumpy a little bit because at least he was played by an actor with dwarfisms, and at least he kind of does, almost looks like his actual self, in a way. Despite even he too is affected by shitty CGI. At least it's still kind of his normal self in a way. But then after that, Snow White and Jonathan the thief meet up again. They fend off the guards that are looking for Snow White. They can't come back until she's dead. And they meet all the thieves that Jonathan is with. And the two realize, we're in love. They realize they're in love with each other. But Jonathan departs, I'm going to go find your dad, And so he goes off to find the king. And Snow White believes, no, the queen may have lied about my dad. My dad could still be alive. But then when Jonathan's going there, he gets captured by the guards and imprisoned by the queen again. So much for that. Got imprisoned by the narcissist, beauty all about me queen twice. And who wants, where's Snow White? And then finds out where Snow White is. And so she goes to her chambers, transforms into the witch from the cartoon for like one scene, and creates the poison apple in the story, and goes to and finds Snow White, curses Snow White with the sleeping death right there. And so you kind of to go poison Snow White. So after the dwarves leave for work, of course, well, before that though, like while they were kind of there, like before like Jonathan went and got captured again, Jonathan got shot with an arrow in the shoulder. Honestly, they should have shot the arrow into this character's head. Would have been better. But then Doc somehow is able to cure him. But even though it's like, but Doc doesn't mean I'm a doctor. Of course, so these guys are okay with letting some guy die and not try to help him out, despite the fact that these guys helped Snow White out. But apparently they're able to cure Doc, so it's time for a song. And then you get the yodel-ee-hoo, the song, this yodel song the dwarves sing in the original, which is like 6 seconds, and they don't have the dwarves even dancing with Snow White, or they don't even have Dopey standing on top of a Sneezy and pretending to be this guy that's the same size as Snow White, so that Dopey can dance with Snow White. You don't have that because that's too silly. We can't have that. Then, of course, after that, you got where Jonathan goes to find Dad, gets captured by the Queen a second time. And then, of course, the Queen becomes that peddler for this one scene, apparently. So the peddler Queen finds their cottage, tricks Snow White to eating the apple by saying, Eat the apple, Snow White. I'm an ally of Jonathan. And then, of course, when Snow White eats the apple, falls into the cursed sleep, she reveals her stepdaughter, "What you want to know what happened to your father? I killed him." Wow, what a shock is that? Apparently, this TikTok queen killed her father. So Snow White falls into the sleeping death. The queen goes back to her castle. Apparently is able to go back to her normal queen self, despite the fact that in the original 1937 film, she never did that. She stayed as the peddler for the rest of the film until her death. So, somehow, I don't know why didn't just go back to the castle and just do that in the first place. I don't fucking know, because the movie is too stupid to do that, because of course this movie's too stupid to explain plot holes. But instead of the finale where the dwarves are the ones that battle her in the end on top of the mountain, instead we have the scene where they find her body happen right afterwards. Instead, so the dwarves find her sleeping body, and then remember in the original when the dwarves cried over her body, and then of course even Grumpy of all, and then the scene and the bit that broke a lot of people to tears was when Grumpy of all people started crying. You get that here, except unlike the original where it actually is a big tearjerker moment, it's not well written at all. The dwarves' reactions come off as fake. Their tears even look fake. They don't even look that fucking sad in the slightest. Then, of course, but Jonathan, guess what? Jonathan escaped the dungeon somehow with the help of the huntsman, and he discovers her dead. And, of course, despite the fact that apparently the prince promotes rape, we still have this thief revive Snow White by still kissing her while she's asleep. So we still have that because we had to put a love interest in her, or else we can't make a movie of Snow White. And usually, that's where the story usually ends. But no, because they put the finale where they have to go battle the queen right after this instead, because this movie is lazy at even getting things right. So, If you can't, so yeah. Let's have after that. Let's not have the dwarves be the ones to defeat her. Because we need to have this Snow White be independent. So we have the Queen's defeat be after the whole apple curse. Because apparently that's better. So yeah, Snow White awakens and decides, come on, dwarves, we have to go defeat the Queen. Right there. And so, and Jonathan's fellow thieves also join. Oh, and do you know what's worse? Dopey finally fucking talks. Yeah. Dopey of all characters. He fucking talks in this bit. So it just ruins the point of the character. Dopey in the original, he never spoke at all because he was kind of supposed to be like the toddler and the infant of the dwarves that often likes to goof off in the mines with the diamond eyes and stuff, or even to annoy the hell out of Doc, and apparently never even tried to speak at all, never wanted to speak at all. Like even the dwarves, like when Happy literally introduces him, he don't talk much. He never tried to, and Dopey even shakes his head yes. When they first met Snow White in the original, he even shook his head yes at refusing to talk. He never tried to talk, or clearly had no interest in trying to talk. Here, having him speak with this awful 30-year-old like voice, it ruins the point of who Dopey even is. It's like, come on, guys, I'm not scared of her. Let's team up. Let's help Snow White. Yeah, so much for having this ruin actually another one of Disney's funniest comic reliefs of my childhood. Like the original, Dopey in the original was actually a cute, funny character. Like he was definitely one of the funniest comic reliefs of my childhood. And they basically ruin him in this movie. Where he doesn't even feel like the original Dopey. At all. Yeah, he like still has some of the more goofier moments, but the goofy moments he has aren't even funny. At all. And the remake doesn't even feel like a credit to the original film. It just feels like a movie that basically makes fun of the original film. It basically makes fun of the people that watched the original when they were kids and had peacefully passed on at this point. It feels like it's basically making fun of the original creators, pretty much making fun of the original creators, making fun of Walt himself. Like, even one of their creators' sons was pissed off at this movie and did not like what this movie did. And for good reason. Because it basically spits in the face to the iconic original film that even started Disney as a company in the first place. Take a beloved character that shifts her entirely to someone else. Yeah, a character that's supposed to be a kind-hearted sweetheart, and to somebody that barely even feels like a kind-hearted person at all. Or just, yeah, and honestly, and their kind deeds don't even feel kind to begin with. It's just a waste of time. Like, this is an abomination. It makes you question why any Disney remakes were even being attempted now at this rate. Like, so honestly, this Snow White just feels like a parody instead of a reimagining. Like, it's almost like as if the people just wanted to Google their screenplay. The pacing, on the other hand, is also abysmal. Like, scenes drag on way too long, and nothing of importance happens, to the point where it feels exhausting and boring. And the action in this movie, any action that does happen, it's a jittery mess. And there's rapid cuts that make the sequences so unwatchable, uninspired cinematography, to the point where some of the action just feels so laughable. And of course, the final nail in the coffin of this awful film, the lack of originality. You have every bad trope, every bad cliche, every bad plot device in a lot of bad films gets thrown into the mix here. Because this movie was all made by AI. And you have some of the worst action seen in any live-action Disney film ever. So now we officially get on to the finale. Where how our finale goes, Snow White and the dwarfs come to the kingdom, they all sing another song, and the people all follow them, and they finally get to the gate as soon as Snow White's song number ends. And they get to the guards, and the queen sees them, looking down like, and then goes to take the throne by force. Right there, and so, but then all the other guards, she tells the other guards, you had family, and like telling other guards, like not kind of like just their reason, these motivations to remind them what not to be evil. So they're not evil anymore. So there's that. They're not evil now. And they all throw their weapons down, and even the huntsman bounce. But then the queen, the narcissist TikTok queen, takes out the diamond dagger. But Snow White is like, no, I don't want to hurt you. And instead of reminding the people what the king used to be. And so, that's where you have the guards throwing away all their weapons. They join the civilians. The queen is mad about this. And so, he tries to kill Snow White in rage. But the dwarves are all behind. And Jonathan's fellow thieves too. They all defend Snow White. They're just standing behind like, not trying to really fight or do anything. They're just standing behind making faces. And of course, she runs up to her mirror, runs up to the magic mirror. The magic mirror tells the queen, Snow White will always be more fairer than you. Of course, and Snow White then tries to see the queen try to destroy the mirror, but just revealed to be a source of her power, so she ends up turning to glass and dusting away herself like Thanos. Then disappears into the magic mirror's vortex, which could probably be the magic mirror's ass. And then the magic mirror repairs itself. The queen's defeat in 1937 was better, where she fell off a cliff and got eaten by vultures after the dwarves had a fight with her. Here, she just turns into fucking glass and dust like the snap of Thanos' fingers, and then disappears up the magic mirror's ass. And then the magic mirror just magically can repair itself. And that's the end of the TikTok Queen. Then, of course, a celebration gets held as Snow White is named the new queen, marries Jonathan, and justly rules the land. So, and it revealed that Dopey is actually our narrator the whole entire time. So, this girl married a thief. A guy that was a thief. This thief is going to be the new king of that land. Yeah, this guy probably... Yeah, I get this guy hated the queen too, but this was a guy that probably stole from those people, probably made life worse for those people. Is going to be their new ruler? I don't think some of these people clearly didn't get any of their stuff back. I don't think that's not going to sit well with the residents. I never got their shit back. And of course, I just magically somehow knew how to escape jail. Because granted, so what if he was like stealing food for his like band of thieves or something? So what if these band of thieves were other residents of the village? These guys probably stole shit from the people that were already suffering from this queen's rule and probably made life worse for them. Probably even harder for them during this queen's rule. And this guy is going to be their king. That's not going to get people pissed. Don't you think maybe those people should have their stuff back? No, we don't care about that. Because this guy's going to be the king. And the dwarves, Dopey is apparently narrating the story to the kingdom. What happens to the rest of the dwarves after this? Do they all just go back to mining all over again? Do they just go back home to their cottage? We never know. We never know what happens to the rest of them. And then you have the another thing I forgot to mention, speaking of the magic mirror. The reinterpretation of the magic mirror. Like, the mirror not only lies, but this mirror already makes it obvious it does not like this TikTok queen. An idea that, like, and honestly, when the mirror declares Snow White laughable in this version, it's just laughable. Ugh. Because this Snow White is played by a person that immediately ruined the film with her narcissistic ego, her refusal to take criticism, her slamming of the original film, acting like the film was all about her image, demanding that people like her version of the character. Ugh. Let's go, what fucking ever, man. Like, the pacing is just awfully weak with all the, like, the rush forward scenes of the finale. There was no time for any emotional connection to the stuff like this. But whatever, man. Like, whatever. Like, it's poorly executed, but it's the end of this abysmal movie that should have never been made. And you know what, Disney? They honestly, Disney needs to cancel the rest of their live action remakes. Because this was the last straw for the entire public. Including even me. Like, not just me. Like, I already had my last straw long ago. This was clearly everybody else's last straw with their remakes. Because, yeah, you may have had box office hits with stuff like The Jungle Book, Cinderella, Maleficent, The Lion King 2019. I don't know why the fuck that was a box office hit, though. Aladdin, I don't know why that was a box office hit. The first Alice in Wonderland from Tim Burton, you had a box office hit with that. 101 Dalmatians 1996, you had a box office hit with that. A majority of the ones they've done bombed in today's world. The ones that pretty much bombed. Oh, and live action shit in general, too, bombed recently. Prince of Persia, bombed. Which is not a Disney remake, but it's a live action thing they did. It's a video game film, though, but still. The Sorcerer's Apprentice with Nicolas Cage and Jay Baruchel, bomb. The Lone Ranger with Armie Hammer and Johnny Depp, bomb. Pete's Dragon, bomb. Alice Through the Looking Glass, bomb. Most of their ride films, like both Haunted Mansion versions, one with Owen Wilson and the 2003 film with Eddie Murphy, both of them, bomb. Jungle Cruise, bomb. Christopher Robin, bomb. Pinocchio, bomb. Lady and the Tramp and Peter Pan and Wendy on Disney Plus, along with Pinocchio on Disney Plus. All three of them, bomb. Mulan, bomb. Dumbo, bomb. And of course, The Little Mermaid from 2023. Also, guess what? Bomb. At this point, how about stop letting this company make live action attempts at your animated films and just stop making live action movies, period. At this rate. And retire from that trend. And honestly, for Rachel Zegler, I hope Rachel Zegler just never acts ever again. After the narcissistic ego with the promotion of this movie, I hope she barely gets acting roles ever again after this. With the awful performance and the promotions. God, like, this was a pain in the ass to sit through. Like, it's not a shock this is bombing. At all. Like, even if Zegler was a likable actress, this movie would still bomb regardless. It would still bomb. It still wouldn't make money. Like, now, do I have any good qualities with the movie? Oh, here's my short answer. How many good qualities do I have with the movie itself? 0! Only one that has nothing to do with the movie itself. It's that it bombed at the box office. Like, you have not even remotely cracked 100 million worldwide alone in your first week. You have only cracked 52 million domestically, and you have literally only cracked the 96 million mark worldwide. in the first week. You have not even reached 100 million at all. And even once you reach 100 million, you're not going to reach that 500 million mark in order to break even. You will not reach 500. You are not going to reach 500 million. The theaters were dead ass empty. Like, I think some kids have even not liked this film. Like, apparently when Sean Sandler saw this film, his son apparently fell asleep. In Did You See That's video, one commenter literally said that, or one video I saw, one commenter said that he went to see this movie with his daughter. Guess what? 45 minutes into the movie, his daughter actually wanted to leave. She did not want to watch the rest of the film. So that does also kind of give me hope for kids today. It honestly seems like kids today are actually much smarter than this movie seems to think they are. Like, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if you barely get to remake much else after this movie. I wouldn't be surprised. Good luck trying to remake films after this, and because also, this is definitely gonna sweep next year's Razzies. As soon as the voting for next year's Razzies gets announced. So yeah. Snow White, it has no good at all. And this would definitely have to be the worst movie of 2025. And guess what? I've seen 2 family movies before this that are actually better than this movie. You want to know what was better than this movie? A lot of newer family films. The Wild Robot, that was better than this version of Snow White. Dogman, that was better than this version of Snow White. Paddington in Peru, and the whole Paddington trilogy in general, though all 3 of those are better than Snow White. This version, I'm talking about this version. What else was better? Oh man. I'm not the biggest fan of Inside Out 2. Guess what? Even that was better than Snow White. Like, this movie has no good at all, and this would already have to be the worst movie of 2025 I've seen already. The number 1. And of course, you know what else? Whatever other bad movie comes out, because this has definitely been already been a shitty year for movies already. So this is probably one of the worst years for films in a long time. I wonder if this is going to end up being the 2017 for movies of this decade. So far this is probably one of the worst years for films since 2017. And guess what? This movie is probably going to stay at the number 1 worst of the year spot, regardless of whatever bad movie that comes out. I don't think any other bad movie that comes out is going to be anywhere bad as this. Because this was just unbelievably bad. Like, this has already surpassed Dragon Ball Evolution, Uwe Boll stuff in low negative scores. So in the end, this movie should be called horseshit. Because that's what this movie is. Horseshit. It automatically was already horseshit long before it even came out. And it's a film that can be thrown into the incinerator and burned. Like Toy Story 3. Anyways, guys, that's it for my epic rant on Snow White the remake. And if we're not going to rank Snow White the remake, here's how I'm going to rank this movie. So overall, if you already knew this film would be a disaster, it's definitely low, so please never ever watch this movie at all and stay the fuck away from this, please. And if we're running high rank Snow White, I am obviously going to give Snow White a -0 out of 10. Well, here we go, guys. Wraps up a mega rant on Snow White. I don't need to tell people to tell their comments down below, because I know a lot of people that did have the unfortunate pleasure to watch the film. Obviously, are going to say they hated it too. Almost just about nobody's liked this movie. There's some people are even going, some of these people clearly didn't watch the movie. This is actually all this shit I explained. All this shit actually happens in the film. Literally, all this shit I explained actually is what's in the movie. Like, And people already disliking it because of all the controversial promotions surrounding it. Right there. And the people that did see it, all of them don't like this movie. Like, God. But, so, until then, guys, I'm going to end this video here. That'll be it for this epic boiling rant. Thank you all for watching. If you like this, want to see more, don't forget to like, subscribe to Don G. Corleone.